Before you turn into the darkness, the details of what this guide is for, its concept or goal, I just want you to know one thing. It is my intention to probe your deepest core of yourself, and in doing so, I will not bullshit you, at least not intentionally. In this, the hopes that people in my life and the world have just one aha moment when looking into Loki's mirror. Hopefully, you'll receive at least one good lesson. Whatever type of person you may be, this concept is deceptively easy to see, much harder to put into practice. Loki's mirror is staring into the mirror and looking at all of life and its chaos and recognizing it in yourself. The character Loki in most Eddas is a trickster, a manipulator, a jester. The more uncommon viewpoint is that he was one that proved the gods' weaknesses and strengths. Without the intervention of Loki into their lives, we as the readers of the sagas and journals that they put down may have never seen the depths of the very icons in these stories. Life is very stale without something to experience. In an era we have so many things to see, feel, and connect to, it's hard for people to grasp, to get the most out of the time, little time, we have here. And that is what's most rewarding. More so when we're constantly given a worldview of what must be done rather than discovering what is going to make us happy and fulfilled. Loki's Mirror is not about a way of life, a book, or advice in this case, about questioning your faith, or even showing you how to live. What this guide will do for you, anybody, is give you a long, hard look into who you are, what makes you tick. From there, the tides of your life naturally flow rather than forcing things to happen. Loki's Mirror is a tool. As such, this guide, in my words, will show you how to wield them. Your first steps. When somebody finds something we rather they not have found about ourselves, we tend to get defensive or outright angry. The best mirror you'll ever have is your identity. If you found this guide, chances are that you recognize your responses, but are questioning why they happen. Let me repeat that, because it's very important. If you have found this guide, chances are that you recognize your responses and your reactions, furthermore, but you are questioning why they happen. Most cultures have some aspects they love sharing about themselves, and others they keep close to the heart. From cultures to individuals, their nature and their demeanor all originate with their identity. Others call it ego. There are many ways on how to respond to these truths, and we will cover these a little later. The insights we discover about ourselves. Sounds nonchalant, Buddhist, even pretentious. The truth is, they may lead, destroy, build, create, sit, glow, or drive us to anything. So why is self-discovery important at all? Why figure out what I do if the insight leads to anything? What purpose does it serve to know? The short answer is knowledge is power. power over what it is at your discretion. As I mentioned before, Loki's mirror is merely a tool. It's up to you how to use this knowledge. And I'd be amiss to mention here if I did not give some examples. This list is by no means all that can be accomplished, but we'll give you some basic idea. The highlights: finding happiness in yourself, taking pride in your strengths, taking your weaknesses and modifying it if necessary, taking your connections to the next level, revealing yourself without fear, facing fears, facing others' fears, giving a new perspective to yourself and others, finding forgiveness, yourself or another, repair or build upon close relationships, move forward without moving on, putting faith in something, or anything for that matter, accept things rather than grieve over them or dwell on them like most do, learn from losses rather than repeating them. Definition of insanity there. Now, there are many more uses, and feel free to add one in your feedback section or the comments below. Now that you have some basic idea of what can be accomplished, and the progress from here is relative to what you wish to discover about yourself. The chapters are structured for working from outside in, but feel free to jump to a topic that interests you the most. See the comments below. Facing your chaos. This chapter is intended to scratch at the surface of facing yourself. Doing so can be a daunting process for anyone. The issues compound if you have faced any trauma or major things in your past. Knowing this, I suggest you make a list of all those major things, major traumas in your life that have affected you. Anything that has left an impression. This includes a song, a poem, art, or even a movie, and all of the other stuff. Your greatest joys, your greatest pains. Write them down. Get them mentally focused. This will give you a general view of how things in your life has touched you in some way, shape, or form. The Vikings called this the weird, the web. Put your energy out there, and you can see the past, you can see your present, and where those energy leads, you'll see the patterns where they flow for the future. That feeling or that knee-jerk reaction is what you're looking for. That's what's going to guide you. That's what makes you tick. Anybody can do this to you, but have you ever done it to yourself? If somebody asks you why you did that, giving a straightforward answer is easier than asking yourself. Reason being, you can omit details or outright tell a person nothing. There are exceptions that do apply. Illusions that we have evolved with time. I'll get into those later. Facing yourself is much harder. Being critical of yourself is even harder than that. Take a measure of all your experiences, that mental list that you've jotted down now, and ask how they relate to your present wants and needs. To comparison of what you've done to what you're doing now. That's the chaos you're going to face. If you've always done things a certain way, you're always going to get what you've always got. Heard that one before? How about something more relatable? The definition of his insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. I think this was Einstein, but don't quote me on that. Whether you hearing this guide for insights, making a change, capitalizing what's already working, the major events in your life influence a lot of how you react to life as a whole. Take one of the major events, any one of them. You got it? Good. How did it make you feel? How did you deal with it? If you have you dealt with it? How do you think it has affected you? How is it affecting your current relationships, social life, self-image, family, your career, etc., etc.? Is it working for you? Have you been told otherwise? Did you follow that advice? Do your own thing? Put your foot down? Be assertive? Or were you passive? Let it go. Let the pain happen. Or did you love, etc., etc., etc.? And after all that, what did you learn? Most importantly, what did you learn? Again, what you do with that information is relative to you. Take anything that left an impression on you and ask the same. Now here's a tougher set of questions. Have you shared this story? With who and why? Did you omit anything and why? Why not? What do people do after they're told? Is it easier to keep it silent or tell the casual encounter? Just when you meet somebody. Something you wish they knew about you up front. Has it raised issues as you walk your path? Your goals, your dreams, etc. At this point, I ask you to put this guide aside and take time to reflect these questions for anything that makes it on your event or impression list. If you're looking for answers, ask the right questions. Throughout life, we put some basic faith on things. That the sun will rise, or our parents' advice is golden. Being critical of yourself is usually frowned upon in most any culture. In fact, don't beat yourself up becomes a mantra for some people. The issue with not looking critically at a mistake or a failure or even a success that didn't go as planned is that it's blind acceptance. It puts us on autopilot, creating an almost psychopathic tendency not to feel or experience things fully, causing resentment in relationships after communication, verbal, or actions. It all breaks down. This is because it's expected of us. This is because it's expected of us, rather than wanting or needing to be there.